There was a time when I was extremely unhappy with my looks. I was the average loner girl throughout all of my schools. No one made an effort to hang out with me. I remember the first time I was called fat by my workplace crush. I was so depressed that I went for drinks straight away after work. After a couple of shots and crying in the public washroom for an hour, I decided to head home. On my way, I thought I should stop at 7-Eleven and buy gum. I bought a lotto ticket there, just to try my luck. The next couple of days, I Googled the winning numbers, and to my surprise, I got all 6 of them. After hyperventilating and nearly passing out, I decided I will spend this money to achieve the body I always wanted, that I will be like those hot girls who make men go crazy. I collected my money and drove straight to LA. After searching enough, I found out about this plastic surgeon who is capable of doing all kinds of life-changing surgeries. His PA gave me an appointment to visit his office the next morning. Taking my money and a lot of hope for a new look, I went to his office. The receptionist pointed toward the waiting area and told me to wait for my turn. There were couches and chairs set up for clients to sit and wait. Another guy was sitting on the couch. He wore a black hoodie and kept his head down. I sat down opposite him. The guy was constantly tapping his feet, which said how impatient he was to see the surgeon. I was feeling a little curious and wanted to see his face, so I dropped my phone just to pick it up and get a sneak peek at his face. As my phone hit the ground, the guy stopped tapping his feet and lifted his face. I kid you not, his face gave me goosebumps. He had lips bigger than a duck. Name any fillers that exist in the field of plastic surgery, that guy had it. His cheeks were uplifted higher than mountaintops, and his eyebrows could be mistaken as caterpillars any day. Seeing me stare at him without blinking, the guy let out a creepy grin and said,
"Don't you like what you see?"
No. I mean, yeah. I'm sorry to stare at you like that.
Is this your first time here?
Yeah, I came to LA recently.
To get the body you want?
Yeah, if that's possible.
This is LA, darling. Everything is possible. I used to look ugly once, but now, look at me. People easily mistake me for Kim Kardashian.
I almost got hiccups hearing this. This man was completely delusional. He had no idea how outrageous his looks were, and that he looks nothing like Kim K. But still, I awkwardly smiled just to be nice to him. We were talking when the PA came and said that the plastic surgeon has canceled all his appointments today, as he had some surgery meeting to attend. She told us to come tomorrow.
God, nothing is in order anymore. You just wasted my entire afternoon.
Saying this, he got up, and I got up too. We both came out of the office, and he offered me to go to his place for a drink. Since I knew no one in the city and wanted to talk to someone who already went through plastic surgery, I agreed. He said his name is Joe, and he lives nearby. We got into a cab, and he took me to a beautiful apartment, which looked expensive. Wow, your place looks amazing.
Thanks, babe. Once I get a big house, I'll do the same decor Kim has done in her house.
You like Kim, huh?
Like? I am crazy about her. I want to look exactly like her. Just a couple more surgeries and I will be Kim 2.0.
He handed me a drink and then said in a mysterious voice,
"Do you want to see something?"
Sure. He grabbed my hand and took me to his bedroom. There was a big closet in his bedroom. He walked up to the closet and opened both doors. What I saw gave me creeps about Joe. Instead of clothes, his closet wall was filled with photos of Kim Kardashian. There was a square table in the middle which had candles, a human skull, and some other bizarre things that no one would ever dream of seeing in someone's closet. What is all this?
My cavern. I told you I want to be just like her. Do you know what this is?
He picked up a small, transparent pouch and emptied it onto his hand. A small black hairball came out from it. Ugh, what is that?
This is Kim's hair. I sneaked into her backyard one night and stole her garbage bags.
You did what?
Yeah, she must have brushed her beautiful hair the night before.
Saying this, he smelled the hairball like it was a bouquet of roses. I felt like vomiting, but somehow controlled myself. He put the hairball back into the pouch and then picked up a small wooden box from the table. Once he opened it, I received shock number 2. The box was filled with chopped edges of fingernails. I didn't have to guess to whom they belonged. This guy is an obsessed stalker. He not only wants to look like Kim K, but he wants to be like her. Why do you have all this stuff? And what's up with that human skull?
Oh, I am doing some rituals. I am praying to the Dark Lord to turn me into Kim K. That's why I need things that are physically a part of her. But it seems like all of this isn't enough.
Do you think these things work?
They do! The Dark Lord will grant all of your wishes in exchange for a sacrifice.
As he said this, I saw the look on his face change. His eyes got wide, and he smiled ear to ear, looking at me. What kind of sacrifice? What are you saying?
The ultimate human sacrifice to make the Dark Lord grant my wishes. Stupid girl. You still don't understand, huh?
Understand what?
You are my sacrifice, babe! I was looking for someone like you for months! Someone who is not from here and has no one to look for them if they go missing!
Saying this, he suddenly took out a knife from his back pocket, which I had no idea about, and came to stab me with it. I wasn't ready for this sudden attack, but still, I tried to move away. Even though I was saved by an inch, he still cut me on the cheek. I turned around and started running toward the door.
You can't escape! I won't let you! Just one sacrifice, just one! And I will be the next Kim Kardashian! The world will be crazy about me!
He chased me with the knife. I was close to the door, but I realized he has locked the door, and I won't have enough time to unlock it before this creepy Ken doll ends up killing me. There was a small coffee table in the dining, and thank God for my extra pounds. I picked that table up and threw it at him, aiming his head. The glass of the coffee table broke on his bald head, covering him with shattered, sharp pieces. His duck lips cut open, and he screamed.
Ah! You just ruined my lips! I spent my entire family wealth just to get these! You freaking witch!
And he broke down on the floor, holding his bleeding face. In the meantime, I unlocked the main door and came out of his place. One last time, I looked back to see him sitting on the floor, looking at me with vengeful eyes and sobbing like a 6-year-old. I screamed with utmost disgust. You are the worst Kim K lookalike I have seen in my entire life, and I pray to your Dark Lord that you burn in hell! I ran far away from his apartment. I didn't stay the next day and never went to any plastic surgeon. I came back to my town, started my bakery, and joined a gym to lose weight so I can live a healthy life. The only change in my look that I did was obtaining a slimmer figure, and that's it. I have no complaints about my look, and whenever I see someone obsessing over a celebrity or star, I stay the hell away from them.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. If so, please leave a like. And also, a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you want to support this channel and make this channel reach the 1 million mark, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can change your mind later. Enjoy.
Hey guys, my name is Alan. As much as many hate me for saying it, I'm a paparazzi. I know. We may not have the best reputation. We paparazzi are usually very intrusive and people don't like us. But even though it's an ugly job, someone has to do it. And as much as I hate to admit it, I love it. Not only did I consider myself a good paparazzi, but in my day, I can admit I was the best. No celebrity was safe from my camera. Just to get a good picture, I was able to get into the most hidden places and earn the hatred of everyone around me. I didn't work for any specific media. I went to show my photos and sold them to the highest bidder. But even though I was paid very well, it wasn't the money that mattered to me. It was the thrill. So, with that in mind, one day I decided to go for one of the biggest fish in the pond, Kim Kardashian. Despite being a very public person, all of us in the media know that she is very mysterious. There are times when all paparazzi know where she is, who she's with, and what she's doing. But at other times, she just disappears. Also, there's a great mystery with her choice of clothing. For some reason, she almost always wears black or veils. I searched the far reaches of the internet, and there are many very logical theories. But in some pictures on Reddit, I saw things that really caught my attention. Celebrities who wear black because they sold their souls to the devil. Celebrities and strange sex. All that seemed nonsense, but nonsense that would bring a lot of attention if confirmed. Great job, kid. These pictures are great. Keep it up. Of course. It's always a pleasure to work with you. By the way, did you get my email I sent you regarding Kim? What? Were you serious about that? I know it seems weird, but celebrities are very eccentric. Imagine if it were true. Kid, I've been in the business a lot longer than you. Don't get in there. You'll never get those pictures because they're just internet hoaxes. None of it is real. Yeah, of course. That was Robert, the editor of a prestigious magazine. You would think that his refusal would demotivate me, but quite the opposite. At that moment, I knew I had to get those pictures. I started to dedicate all my time to following Kim. Night and day, I monitored where she was going, what she was doing, and how she was doing it. I thought it was going to be a months-long job, but surprisingly, I started noticing strange things in the first week. That day, she didn't have an event, but she got in the car dressed in black and wearing a veil. You couldn't see her face, but I knew it was her. As the hours passed, everything became even stranger. I followed the car, and after a long drive, we ended up on the road to a forest. The girl's car was parked in an open, abandoned field. If I parked near her, it would be very obvious that I was following her, so I turned the car around and found a much more hidden place where I could see her. Come on, Kim, where are you? No one was getting out of their car. Seconds, minutes, and hours passed as nothing happened. Then, at one point, everything happened. Suddenly, many cars arrived, and many men in black robes surrounded the place. I got out of my car, closed the door, and walked a few meters to a place where I could take a good picture. The men made a bonfire in the center of the field and began to surround it. Then, Kim's car opened, and she got out with something in her hand. I zoomed in on whatever she was carrying and gave a little gasp when I realized that what she was holding was a dead chicken, which she threw into the middle of the campfire while everyone was dancing around it. I may not have been able to get a picture of her without the veil, but I had some pictures that no paparazzi would have ever dared to get in their lives. That was enough for me. I went back to the car to leave the place as soon as possible, but as I was getting in, something caught my attention. The car door wasn't fully closed. It was just propped up. That was impossible. I'm a very methodical man. I always make sure to close the door when I get out of the car. I even remember closing it when I got out. How could it be open? Suddenly, I had a very bad feeling and I walked away from the car slowly, walking backward. Even though the windows were tinted, terror invaded me when, in the worst possible way, I confirmed my suspicions. Something inside the car was moving. Two shadows were moving from one place to the other, impatient, and the people in the car realized I had spotted them. I ran down the road away from the circus they had set up, but also away from the car. How far was the nearest town? 20 kilometers? 30 kilometers? It didn't matter. I had to get away as soon as possible. Suddenly, some lights came on behind me and a car was coming at high speed down the road. It was my car. I jumped out of the way into the middle of the road, dodging my own car, which had tried to run me over. Stop right now! I've got everything on camera! Far from being satisfied with the attempted homicide, the car turned around and tried to run me over again at full speed. This time, I didn't manage to dodge it in time, and it hit my leg. From the impact, I fell off the side of the road downhill into the woods. I tried to walk towards town, but in pain, I started to hear footsteps near me. I hid behind a tree and prayed that no one would find me. I didn't even dare to see whose footsteps they were. Maybe they were good people. Maybe they were civilians. Or Maybe they were the ones who tried to run me over. I didn't want to find out. I just closed my eyes and cried. I started praying to myself that no one would find me. After a few minutes that seemed like hours, the footsteps were gone. I walked wounded to a village, and from there, I knew the nightmare was over. Kid, I can't use this! This is trash! What? This is ridiculous! That's Kim, I swear! Your oath is useless to me, kid. Do you have pictures of her face? She was wearing a veil. Then these photos are useless! Hey, I almost died for those pictures! How dare you do that? You're a rookie, kid. I want you to leave and never come back! What? Security! And without another word, they threw me out of the place. I had copies of the photos. I took them to all the newspapers and magazines, and they all turned me down. Some didn't even open the door for me. It was as if they were waiting for me, as if they knew I was coming. After that day, they never accepted my pictures anywhere. They had made me the cross. Were all of these people involved in these rituals? I will never know. What was certain was that my career as a paparazzi was over. After that day, I had to give up all of my dreams of fame and settle for working in a bakery and taking pictures of landscapes. Call it karma or just bad luck, but even though I survived that day, my life was over. I was a stalker once. Yeah, you heard it right. I stalked a girl in my school named Miley. She had a very pretty face and lovable smile. I wanted to tell her how much I liked her, but never got the chance. Honestly, I wasn't that popular in school. I was that one kid who was barely noticed by girls, especially beautiful girls. And Miley was a goddess. Her blonde, shiny hair, her pink lips, everything made me go crazy. I never missed Spanish class as Miley sat in front of me. While everyone paid attention to the teacher, I paid attention to her gorgeous hair. I've lost count of how many times I kneed forward just to smell her hair. She used green apple shampoo, which smelt like heaven to me. But stalking someone has its own perks. The chances of getting caught are always high. So this one time I was sniffing her hair and suddenly a sneeze came and I sneezed on her shoulders, spraying things that I don't want to mention.
Ew, Jesus, what the hell, Trevor?
I'm sorry, Miley, I didn't...
You're disgusting, man.
The students started laughing, and Miley stormed out of the class to go to the washroom. After that day, the minimum chances of ever getting close to a girl like her died, no doubt. But still, I couldn't get over her. I would secretly follow her after school on her way home. Sometimes I even climbed to a tall tree on the opposite sidewalk of her house so I could watch her changing clothes in her room. Yes, I admit I was disgusting, but there was something in me that kept pushing me to want her, to crave for her like a drowning man craves for air. It was close to prom and I was standing in the hallway staring at Miley, laughing with her sidekicks, when our football captain, Bob, asked her to be his date. I thought she would say yes because, after all, he was popular. But, to my surprise, she refused. Bob got pissed and said, "What? You're rejecting me? Me?"
Yes, Bob.
"But why?"
Because I think you have a stupid name.
"You're such a witch, dumb blonde." Bob insulted her and left. Well, he didn't get away with it, though. No one ever heard from him after that day. I choked him next morning when he went for a run through the hiking trails. I tied stones with his neck and threw him into the lake so that no one ever finds his body. And lucky me, no one ever did. That day, I realized that I'm capable to ruin anyone who will attempt to hurt Miley. And this is how I started hating Kim Kardashian. Let me tell you, Miley got obsessed with her unreal beauty standards. She was so adamant to turn herself into Kim that she did horrible things to herself. She started eating lots and lots of chocolates to put on weight just to get her behind shaped like Kim. Her craziness didn't stop right there. She even injected vegetable oil into her lips just to get them plump like Kim Kardashian. The results obviously weren't how she expected them to be. Slowly, her lips began to swell, and her cheeks started rotting with the chemical reaction of the oil. One afternoon, we were having lunch in the cafeteria when Miley began screaming while eating.
Ah!
As we turned to look at her, we saw a horrible scene. Maggots were popping out of her swollen lips. She was screaming in terrible pain. The principal called the paramedics who took her to the hospital. Her parents were informed too. The doctors told them her entire jaw needs to be removed, or else she would die of skin cancer. My sweet, innocent Miley lost her face. That day, I decided to finish the person who hurt her the most. Call me a maniac, but I don't care. I began stalking Kim Kardashian. I had an uncle who stayed in Paris, and I went to see him with my mother one time. Call it my luck and Kim's bad luck. I came to know Kim was supposed to go up there with her husband Kanye West. I didn't want to let this opportunity go. I woke up in the morning dressed like a man in the crowd and waited near the destination they were supposed to arrive at. There was already media people and fans waiting for her, so it became easy to hide amongst them. Just when I saw the car coming, I braced myself. She ruined my beautiful Emily. I will get my revenge. As her car stopped right in the middle of the road, I came to her side of the window. First, her husband got down, and then she did. The moment she did, I went to teach her a lesson, but the thick crowd started shoving each other. I could only grab her feet, and then she began screaming. Her bodyguard intervened, and I fell on the ground. People started kicking me like I was some vermin. I got beaten up really bad and somehow managed to escape the crowd, pulling my miserable self up. When I came home, my mom and my uncle were shocked to see me with all the injuries. They asked me what had happened, and for the first time, I told someone about Miley. I told them how much I loved her, and some woman with unreal beauty manipulated her to be someone she's not. I remember crying myself to sleep that night. We came back home and my mom went to see Miley. I never expected that she would tell her about what I tried to do, but it came out she did. I was sitting on the porch one evening when I saw Miley walk in from our gate. Her face was changed, but she was still beautiful to me. Seeing her, I stood up with a confused face. She came towards me and I saw her watery eyes.
Are you crazy, Trevor?
I have always been. For you. I spoke. She broke into tears and I took her into my arms. It's been 3 years now, and we're married. I'm not angry at Kim anymore, just so you know. That's why I decided to share my story. I was wrong stalking Miley, and I was wrong in trying to hurt Kim. But I'm happy everything ended in my favor. Call me crazy, but deep down, I kind of feel thankful to Kim. Because of her, I got the love of my life to acknowledge and see my infinite love for her. I admit it makes her look different with her jaw being missing, but she will always be the most beautiful woman to me. And now, she's mine forever.